Hey there. Today I'm going to show you how to get started with CTX, a really useful tool for generating context files for LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude. First, we'll install CTX. It's just a single command. You can copy this from the documentation. We'll use curl to download the installation script. Great. Now let's verify it's installed correctly by checking the version. You should see the current version displayed. Now we're ready to create our first configuration file. Let's initialize a configuration file in our project directory. What this does is generate a basic context.yaml file. Let's take a look at what we got. Here's our generated config file. Notice it has a simple structure with a document section. Documents are the primary output files that CTX produces. They're what you'll eventually share with your LLM. Each document contains sources, which define where CTX should pull content from. By default, you'll see some basic examples of file sources pointing to your project structure. Now, let's customize this for our project. We'll modify the YAML file to better represent our codebase. I'm going to edit the configuration to focus on specific parts of our project. For a typical application, you might want to include your main source code, but exclude tests and vendor files. Let's update our config. Let me explain what we're doing here. We're creating one document called Core Application Logic that will be saved as appcontext.md. This document has two sources. One that pulls PHP files from our controllers directory. Two, another that pulls PHP files from our models directory. For both sources, we're explicitly excluding anything in the tests or vendor directories. By the way, if you're using an IDE like VS Code or PHP Storm, you can get schema validation and auto-completion by adding a schema reference to your config, like this. This makes editing the configuration much easier since you'll get hints about available options. Now that we've set up our configuration, let's generate our context file. CTX will now process your configuration and create the specified output file. In our case, app-context.md. Let's open up the generated file. As you can see, CTX has created a well-structured markdown file containing all the code from our specified directories. It's organized with clear headings and includes a tree view of the files for better navigation. This file is now ready to be shared with an LLM like Claude or ChatGPT. You can upload it directly or copy-paste its contents when you need to give the AI context about your codebase. You can ask specific questions about your code structure, request explanations of certain components, or even get suggestions for improvements. And the LLM will have the necessary context to provide accurate assistance. And that's it. You've successfully set up CTX and generated your first context file.